Hi everybody, welcome back to 10 Minute Traveller. Well, actually, it's probably going to be 20 Minute Traveller, because what I'm going to do in this video is that I'm going to be looking at creating a character, and it can take a little bit of time if you're explaining it. Actually, in real time, it doesn't take that much time at all. But let's get into it, shall we? So, how do we make a character? Well, I'm using Book 1, Characters and Combat, and I'm also going to need a pen or a pencil, whichever's your poison. Going to need some dice. I'm using 3d6 here, and we're going to need a character sheet. Well, instead of printing out a character sheet, I'm just going to use some index cards here, just to write down things as I go. Okay, so let's get into it then. So what we need to do is we need to look at getting our character into a service. Now, in my previous video, I talked about getting into services, enlistment, survival, and that sort of thing. So I won't go into that again. All I'm going to do is get started with the idea that this character wants to get started in the Navy. So, trying to get into the Navy, let's have a quick look at all of the things that are required. So, before I make my stat rolls, it would be nice if I've got intelligence and education. By the looks of it, they seem to be beneficial for the Navy. So let's make those rolls and let's get ourselves some stats. So I'm going to use the method of rolling 3d6 minus the smallest, and I'm going to put them in straight. So that's a roll of 8, the 5 and the 3. That's going to be a 7. That rolled off the table. Let's try that one again. So that's going to be a 5. That's going to be a 10, or an A. That's going to be an 8. And that's going to be another 10. So, not remarkable, but okay. Right, so let's see how far we can go. So this character, we'll call them Bob. Bob wants to get into the Navy. Now, to get in the Navy, you're going to need an 8+. You've got some die roll modifiers here, +1 for intelligence, +2 for education, 9+, intelligence 8+. So my intelligence is 10, so I get a +1 for that. My education is only an 8, so I only get the +1. So I need to make a roll of 7 to enlist. This will be done on 2d6. I get a 6, +1 is 7, I don't get into the Navy. At this point, then Bob is going to be subjected to the draft. So we're going to make a roll of 1d6 to see where Bob actually ends up. And it's in the Navy anyway. So even though Bob couldn't enlist into the Navy, he's still drafted into the Navy. So we need a roll to see if Bob actually survives being there for these 4 years. That's a roll of 5+, an intelligence of 7. I've got an intelligence of A, that's good. Gives me a +2, so I need to roll 3 or more. I do that, so that's good. So Bob survives. Now, can Bob get a commission? Well, Bob's got a good social standing, so it gets +1. So I need to roll a 9 to get a commission. Doesn't make it, unfortunately. That would have been good if he could, but unfortunately not. Needed a 10+, got that modifier, so that would be a +1. That would have been a 9, so that's a bit of a shame. No commission means no promotion. Okay, so Bob's first full term in the Navy will give Bob the chance to get 2 skills. That could have been more with a commission and a promotion, but as it stands, it will be 2 skills. Let's have a look over here on the right-hand side. You can see that we've got a number of different skill tables. One of those skill tables, unfortunately, is not available. Actually, no, that's a mistake of mine. Sorry, it is available because the Advanced Education Table 2 is only allowed with characters of an education of 8 or more. Bob has 8, so that's good. Okay, so Bob wants to make a couple of rolls. Gets 2 rolls, and Bob wants to be a pilot. So the only table that I can roll on to be a pilot is the 4th table down, which is this one, and I need to make a roll of a 5 on 1d6 to see if I get pilot. I get a 4, which is computer. That's not too bad. Okay, so let's just write that in. So that's computer, and that's a skill of 1. Okay, there's one more roll to go. Bob thinks that maybe it would be beneficial to see if I could get a little bit more in terms of survival skills. And a good survival skill, especially when in space, is something like vac suit. So let's make a roll on the advanced education table here. And Bob gets a 5, which is gunnery. That's it for Bob in the Navy for that first 4 years. Bob likes the Navy and would like to give it a go to go back and serve another term. However, the chances of getting a commission is quite difficult. So Bob decides that instead of trying to re-enlist, he's going to go for an enlistment in the army. So going to make a roll. Dexterity of 6 or more is a bonus. That's good. So that's a +1. And endurance of 5 or more, yep, is a +2. So that's a +3 to join the army. Oops, dropping my dice. So +3 to join the army. So I need to roll. Actually, can't really fail. Which is good because I rolled a double 1. So that would have been 2. Plus the modifiers there of +3. So without those +3, Bob would not be in the army. Excellent. Does Bob survive being in the army? Let's hope they don't roll another double 1. So education of 6+, yes. That means the DM modifier is plus survival is +2. So 3 or more. Excellent. So Bob survives. Now, what about a commission? It's a little bit easier to get a commission. Endurance of 7. Bob's endurance is low, so he doesn't get a bonus, but needs a 5 or more for commission. And gets it, so he's commissioned. So got a commission. What about a promotion? So needs 6 or more. Education gives the bonus, so that's going to be 5 or more. Oh, bad luck, Bob. So got the commission, didn't get the promotion, unfortunately. And that means that with the commission, and you get 1 skill per term after the first initial term, so that's 2 skills in the army. So Bob is going to make a couple of rolls for skills in the army. I think Bob would still like some gun combat, so he's going to make a roll on that table there. And is going to make a roll on that table there. Let's do this one first, Army Service Skills, which is a 2, which is Aircraft. And the second one is going to be on this table here, which is a 2, which is Mechanical. So mechanical 1, forgive my writing. So mechanical 1. Okay, so got aircraft and mechanical 1. So that's the second term. Bob likes being in the army, and although didn't get a promotion, has been commissioned. So that would mean that going back through in the army would mean that he wouldn't have to make another roll for commission and could potentially get a promotion. Now to re-enlist, Bob's going to have to roll a 7 or more. That's on 2 dice. Bob makes it and gets re-enlisted back into the army. So this is the third term. So in the army, Bob needs to see if he survives. 4 + 1, which is good for education. So that's good. So survives. The commission's already done. Let's see if he gets a promotion. 4 + 1 for education. Again, Bob's not very lucky, is he? So Bob doesn't get that promotion, and that concludes that term. So again, the commission was already there, which means that this time Bob is only going to get 1 skill for being through that service. Bob would still like to get gun combat if possible, and makes a gun combat roll. Makes a gun combat roll. Makes a roll on the service skill table to see if he gets gun combat. 4. Forward observer again. When I say again, what I mean is, again, not gun combat. So Bob has been particularly unlucky trying to get gun combat, but that's the way the dice roll. So Bob has been through 3 terms, and is getting to the stage now where would really start to think about, does he want to do any more terms? So he's going to try and do 1 more term in the army. Right, so let's see if Bob can re-enlist. Needs 7 or more. Gets that. And then, does Bob survive? Gets that. And does Bob get a promotion? Gets that as well. Gets the promotion for being in the army, which is good. Okay, so that means that Bob is now a lieutenant in the army, therefore rank 1, which helps with mustering out benefits. Because of the promotion, and you get a skill as well, you get 2 skills. So the 2 skills that Bob is going to go for, again, is going to cry for gun combat. So 1 roll in the service skills, and gets a 5 and gets blade combat. And why not? Going to go in advanced education, see what we get. Gets a 6, excellent. Gets gun combat, so at least Bob can fire a gun. Now, obviously, blade combat and gun combat are split into different things, which we'll talk about in separate sections. Okay, that's it. So that's 4 terms. That means 4 mustering out rolls. Let's just have a look at what we've got. We've got 3 terms in the army, plus a promotion to rank 1. So I believe that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 mustering out rolls, and 1 term in the Navy. So that's a mustering out roll in the Navy as well. Okay, so with mustering out, what we've got with mustering out is we've got down here, as you see, we've got the ability to actually get items, and we've got the ability to get ourselves money. Now, in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to make rolls against the benefits table and the cash table. Now, when making your rolls for mustering out, it's best to look at the tables and think about what it is that you want. In the case of the Navy, you can see that it's possible to get some things in the Navy mustering out that you can't get, for example, in the Army. So, although it's the luck of the dice, obviously, in this, just be aware of that. Now, we had 1 term in the Navy, which qualifies us to be able to make 1 roll in the mustering out tables for the Navy. And as you can see here, in the benefits, we've got low passage, +1 intelligence, +2 education, blade, traveller's society, high passage, and +2 social. You won't be able to get that because you've got, sorry, Bob won't be able to get that because I haven't got the right rank. And same with cash. You can get considerably more cash with a good roll than you can in the army. So in this respect, Bob is going to make 1 roll for the Navy, and that roll is going to be in the cash table. Let's see what Bob gets. It's a 3. So Bob gets 5,000 credits. Okay, so Bob's got 5,000 credits. Now, there's going to be another 4 rolls for the army mustering out. Right, let's start off with the army benefits table. Let's take a roll here. and we get a 2, and that 2 means that we get a +1 to intelligence. So that intelligence has gone from A to B. Okay, let's make another roll. Same table. A 5, which is a high passage. That's good. That's good for traveling. So I've got 2 more rolls left. I'm going to go for a roll on the cash table, which is a 2, which is another 5,000 credits. And 1 more roll on the benefits table, which is a 4, which is a gun. Okay, and that's about it. It looks a little bit messy, and depending on who is the referee and depending on how you want to actually put the rules together, there will be some more skills that would be coming. Normally, what happens is that the referee will assign 0 level skills on a number of different things, especially if there's gaps in the crew. So, for example, you can't go flying around in a spaceship without a pilot, or a navigator, or an engineer. So it might be worthwhile talking to the referee before you get started as to whether or not you can get some 0 level skills. Jack of all trades can fit this sometimes, but not all the time. Now, this is dependent on the background, it's dependent on the books that you're using, but from raw rolling, this from Classic Traveller is essentially the way that you make a character. This would be your character. Now, this character spent 4 terms, so that would be 8, that would be 16 years. Now, would there be any effects of that in terms of aging or anything like that? Well, it's worthwhile just having a look back through the book to see. There's an aging table. As you can see down here, at the age of 34, there's an aging table down here. Now, the character starts off at 18, so that would be 18, that would go to 22, that 22 would go to 26, that 26 would go to 30, and of course then we would go to 34, as you can see here. So these are broken down a little bit. The negative number is the potential reduction in characteristic. As you can see here with the crisis of aging, as you become older, then these could be potentially affecting you as you go. Now, I'm going to be generous here. In my game, I don't usually do aging effects until it hits 50. I think that's a personal thing, given the fact that I'm 50 and over, and I don't think that my strength, dexterity, and endurance would have dropped down particularly too much. But if you're playing particularly by the rules, then some of these things would need to be rolled for. So as you can see here, the negative number is the potential reduction in the characteristics if the saving throw on 2 dice shown are not made. So for strength, I would need to make an 8+. Doesn't make it, so my strength would reduce by 1 for Bob. 7+ for dex. Doesn't make it, so strength would be reduced by 1 as well. And endurance doesn't make it, so all of those physical characteristics would be affected and would technically be reduced down by 1. So they would be reduced before the game starts. If I was playing somebody else's Classic Traveller, I personally think that's very harsh, and I would think about actually changing that. And that's about it. So what we've got to is the point where we've now got our character. Now there's an awful lot more that we need to do. We need names, we need equipment, we need what the character does, how they are, how they speak, what they wear, their motivations, all of that good stuff, or indeed not. Maybe all you need is just a name. I've got one, Bob. So Bob is going to go out there as an army man. He wanted to be in the Navy, but just couldn't really cut it. He's a bit of a grunt, but you know what? I think he's a solid guy. So I look forward to the way that Bob is going to go out there and adventure. So that concludes this part of 10, probably not 10, actually, Minute Traveller for this part. Thanks very much. In subsequent videos, I'm going to look at some of the other rules around things like combat, healing, damage, equipment. So those are all to come. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.